let's go ahead and do this.
If you're watching this, you've probably heard about EVO, maybe caught a few live streams, or even watched it on TV. But if you've never been to the largest fighting game tournament in the world, you're missing out on 90% of the experience. Before I went to my first EVO, I remember
it's really interesting because, you know,
you've probably heard about EVO, maybe caught a few live streams, or even watched it on TV. But if you've never been to...
One of the interesting things about it is, I mean, we're actually at a point right now where I think, you know, where more people, I mean, I don't even have to think, I know more people are watching EVO from home than they are at the actual event. Obviously, traveling to EVO and tickets and everything like that cost a lot of money these days. So this is the primary audience for EVO, and I feel like EVO is unique in this regard that, you know, it has the most like casual viewers, you know, like, hey, I think fighting games are fun. They're not my big thing, so I'm just gonna watch EVO, right? It's just EVO, that is your main thing to watch, you know? So EVO really does hit like a very specific audience, a very different audience than a lot of the other tournaments do. Even stuff like Combo Breaker and CEO, I feel like EVO hits a lot more casual audiences. And I think that's very important. I think that's something that's very important to understand about EVO and to realize why EVO has gone through many changes as it has. We'll get into this a little bit more because Gerald's gonna talk about this a little bit. So here we go.
To the largest fighting game tournament in the world, you're missing out on 90% of the experience.
And yeah, so, you know, not going to EVO is fine. Like I said, don't feel the pressure to have to go because, again, it is not easy, requires a lot of vacation days, requires a lot of expenses, a lot of planning, and all that stuff like that. However, if you can go, if there is a means by which you can go, I would absolutely recommend going because EVO these days is crazy now. I mean, look at the stadium over here, and, you know, they'll talk about this a little bit more, but EVO is definitely more convention-like than it was before. And you still see a lot of people who are like, I don't like EVO now because it's like a convention now. And like, if you don't know the history, like, you aren't aware that it absolutely had to go this route. It had to go this route. So I'll talk about that more when we get to that section in a little bit.
But before I went to my first EVO, I remember getting hyped watching Daigo win Street Fighter 4 in 2009.
Yeah, so this obviously was the big one because Street Fighter 4 was the big revival.
My first EVO, I remember getting hyped watching Daigo win Street Fighter 4.
Oh, yeah, hey, look, hey, who's this young, thin fellow over here in this red shirt over here? Who is this guy over here? This is actually me. I was on the stage over here because I was the cameraman. If you actually look, what's really funny about this too is that if you actually watch the whole footage, after Daigo wins, like, I see Tony Cannon, and I look at Tony Cannon, and I'm like, bro, like, lift his arm, like, raise his hand like a champion. And so Tony walks over there and, like, lifts his arm up, and that's how you get that. And if you don't actually, like, notice that happen, like, like, again, even back then, I knew how to, like, present it. I was about, like, trying to create this storyline and make, and create things that people could latch onto very, very easily. So, but I was the unofficial cameraman, so I was just on the stage. I was taking all these pictures. Again, I was super involved with EVO in the past. I was basically like the people running EVO were Tom, Tony, Wizard, and Seth. And basically, I was like the number 5 guy helping run EVO back in the day. I took a step back from that a little bit when I started doing more commentary, but it was like B5, I think it was, that I just, B4 or B5, where I was just like, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And then I started doing a bunch of stuff. They didn't even have the game intros before top 8. I created those of my own volition. I was just like, you know what? We need intros. And so for this year, I created a bunch of intros for every game that had a top 8 at EVO. I made all the trailers for the location announcements. I made the DVD trailers. I did the DVD menus, for some of them. And like, basically, I was doing all sorts of stuff for EVO at the time. And so, yeah, there you see me on the stage right here, basically right when this whole thing happened here. I was right in the middle of everything, so.
Or in 2009, Gamerby upsetting Justin Wong in 2010, and Punko downing a Red Bull before upsetting Daigo in 2011.
Yeah, so Daigo won 2009, 2010. And then the world was actually introduced to Fudo. Nobody knew who Fudo was when he showed up to 2011, and Fudo ended up winning grand finals against Latif with his Fei Long versus Latif's Viper. And it was, that was most of the Western FGC's introduction to Fudo, because we were like, who is this guy? Like, why is he so good? And you start eventually learning that he's a Virtua Fighter master, et cetera, et cetera. But at the time, yeah, a lot of us didn't know who he was. Yeah, exactly, except for the VF people, right? Yeah, of course the VF, like I said, he had the history of being a VF god. But in like everybody, when Daigo won, everyone's like, oh, of course, Daigo, we all know Daigo, But when Fudo was winning here, outside of the VF guys, almost everybody was just like, what? Who is this guy?
But when I actually went there for the first time in 2013, it left an impression on me that led me to going back 7 more times.
And this is how it always goes. Everybody who goes to their first EVO is always just like, bro, I gotta come back next year. I gotta come back next year. This is too sick. And the inside joke, that me, Tom, Tony, Chris Lee, like every time we talk to people before 2009, and they'd all be like, dude, guys, this event is so cool. We were always like, cool, like, are you coming back next year? And they're like, I'm definitely coming back. And the rule that we always had was just, okay, but bring a friend. Basically, we just wanted everybody who showed up for the first time, if they loved it and came back, just to bring a friend. Because that would just basically increase the audience there all the time. So, oh God, I did all sorts of multimedia stuff. I made combo videos and stuff back in the day.
So what is that 90% that keeps me coming back?
All right, so again, if you can go, you should go. And even what Gerald is talking about here, going his first time in 2013, it's nothing like it is now. Like, what it is now is, again, the reason why it is so much more of a convention is because it had to be, because there are so many people here who are gonna go 0-2, or they're not even playing at all. In fact, one person that I talked to at EVO last year was like, dude, I have to thank you. He was like, I never would have come to EVO if it wasn't for you and your commentary. He was like, and the first year I came, which was last year, I did not enter anything because I was too scared, and I just wanted to absorb everything. But after he experienced it, he said that that year he entered like 3 games and went like in one of them, I think he went like 3-2 and stuff. And he was like, oh, it's so great. It's so fun. So, the Artist Alley is great. And there's a lot of cool stuff to do at a lot of these events. And honestly, Combo Breaker, EVO, and CEO are all not wrong choices. Like, all 3 of them are perfect choices. EVO is clearly the biggest one. And as I've said many, many times, EVO is just basically a celebration of fighting games. Combo Breaker is a celebration of like community more so. And I used to always make the joke that CEO was a celebration of Jabali, which it is. But again, what CEO became this year really, really upped the game. And it was, I have to think about like what its distinct feel is compared to a lot of the other events and such. but CEO is really, really good. Evo is tough because it is in the desert, yes, and it's very hot, which is why Las Vegas loves us, because Evo is bringing in a bunch of people to Vegas during the off season. People think, oh, it's the summer, of course you go to Vegas. No, people don't go to Vegas in the summer, dude. It's like 110 degrees out there. So I do recommend, if you are staying anywhere at the Resort World, look up where the Tesla Loop is. And basically, Tesla Loop is the goofy thing that, you know, Elon built. But it's very useful because from Resort World, you can buy a ticket in the day, and it was cheap. It was like $5, $2 or something like that, and it lasted the whole day. So you can go back and forth in a car and not have to walk back and forth in the blistering heat. So if you are staying at Resort World, which is a bunch of hotels there, if you're staying at any of those, definitely look into the Tesla Loop. I think it also works as well for the what's the other, the water, the water, almost called the Watergate, the Westgate, I think. So, right, you stay indoors, so that's what you mostly want to do. Anyways, let's continue forward with this here.
The first Evo was in 1996, kind of. It wasn't called Evo then, and it was not in Las Vegas. It was called Battle by the Bay, which has 3 Bs in it, hence its alternate name B3, which is kind of like E3.
Welcome to B3.
While Evo...
If you watch the actual B3 footage, which I believe is all entirely on YouTube, this was released on VHS for everybody to consume, and you could buy it. So this is how Evo used to make its money back, was that they basically lost all their money running Evo, and then they sold the DVD afterwards because it wasn't streamed. So a lot of people didn't have the ability to watch it. So a lot of people would end up buying the DVD to see all the matches and stuff. So that was kind of the idea with that. Yeah, Battle by the Bay footage. I mean, there's a lot of like cool stuff going on here. I mean, again, some really iconic matches here that were pretty incredible. I'm just trying to remember, like, I know there's a bunch of interviews at some point, but again, the epic match between John Choi and Alex Vi finishing that thing up over here. Look at young Alex Vi, dude. Look at young Alex Vi, dude. Oh, man. They have the food court outside of the convention centers in the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's very expensive. The food is very expensive. If you can find a way to leave the venue and get food, that's gonna be a better option. I know there is a what is the taco place that's right next to it called again? The taco place that everybody likes. Japan, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do in Japan, obviously, but Vegas is better than nothing at this point in time. So that's Jeff Schaefer, Martin Vega. There's Tony Cannon running the tournament over here. Julian Beasley, MIT player, very, very good at Saddam. Hey! Look at that. Look at that. Holy crap. What is that called? Oh, Chenzor, it just says. Zangief Czar. Zangief Czar is what they labeled me. I'll take it, dude. I will take it. Oh, Tacos El Gordo, that's what it is. Yeah. There you go. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, the other branch that I go to, I think might be better, but in any case, yes, Power Rangers X, this is me. That is me. And guess what? When B3 was happening, I was in college. That is me, college age. That is a college age James right there. I was already going to UCLA at this time. So I look like I'm like 12 years old and I was in college. Holy crap. But yeah, so this is the B3 tape. So if you actually guys have a chance to watch it, like just to see what it was like back then, fascinating stuff.
Evo nowadays is like E3.
Welcome to B3.
While Evo nowadays is like an E3 for fighting games, B3 was a Street Fighter tournament with just over 100 players, where the NorCal organizers begged arcades to borrow cabinets to play at a mini golf center in Sunnyvale, California.
So what happened was there was one year where, you know, it was me, Chris Lee, and I think it was Tom, and the three of us were just standing there. I think Joey might have been there too. But a guy walked up and was like, "Hey man, I'm having so much fun. I'm enjoying this tournament." This was way before Street Fighter 4, of course. And, you know, back in the day, it was like, okay, this is a fighting game tournament. First, it's the most important part. Fighting game tournament, fighting game tournament. And some guy walked up to us and was like, "Hey guys, this is really awesome. I'm enjoying this. I saved up a lot of money for this event. Where can I buy a bunch of cool merch?" And we were all like, "Merch?" and, you know, it was kind of like this turning point where we were all like, a lot of people come here, they go 0-2, they don't have anything left to do, they don't have anything to buy, and we were like, you know, we're kind of leaving a lot of money on the table here. But what was cool about it was, even though like we think, oh, we could sell merch, we could sell artwork and all this stuff, we put it in the hands of the community, right? So a lot of it is, I mean, obviously Evo does have its own merch that you can always get at the Gaming Generations booth, but most of the stuff that you buy there are from the artist alley, right? It's community people doing this kind of stuff. And then the guys who are fans of fighting games who open up their own clothing stores, like, you know, like 86, like N2, like, you know, all the different companies out there making all these shirts. 10-0 is doing this now too. This is a 10-0 shirt right here. So, you know, it's cool that, you know, they've always made sure that it was supporting the community doing this.
The tournament was called B4 Mini Golf Center in Sunnyvale, California. The following tournament was called B4.
Yeah, which didn't take place till 2000. And the reason why they ran B4 was an excuse to film Bang the Machine. So Peter Kang, who was basically kind of like a marketing guy, also like in movies, loved fighting games, funded making a documentary called Bang the Machine. We needed an event for it to, you know, basically culminate in, which it actually didn't, because then it turned into we go to Japan. And so they ran B4 so that, you know, Bang the Machine could have like a documentary subject, and the winners of that would go to Japan. So that became the big long storyline for that. The following year was
then B5, and in 2000
and B5, right? So in 2001 it was B5.
The following tournament was called B4, then B5,
and then in 2002 is when they changed it to Evolution. Right, and I always remember, I think it was Tom or Tony that always joked, like, they came up with the name Evolution because it sounded like the word evil, and like, even back then, everybody used to always be like, you TOs are like, oh my god, you're trying to do this stuff, and blah, blah, blah. Like, people blaming TOs for all problems has been going on forever, honestly. But one thing that's really interesting here, is that there was, in fact, a B2. There was actually a B2 tournament, but it had nothing to do with this. It literally had nothing to do with this. What B2 was, actually, let me do this over here. What B2 was an event called Boston Brawl. There was a tournament called the Boston Brawl that took place in Boston, of course. And as a joke, they said, oh, we're B2. Even though the tournament took place after B3, they just kept calling themselves B2 as a joke. I tried to find footage of B2 on YouTube. I could not. I might have it on my hard drive somewhere, but I don't remember where I put that hard drive. so I can't bust that out right now and look for it. But that tournament was one of the most infamous tournaments for the John Choi route, in which John Choi would play in the first round of a tournament, lose, and then win the tournament from loser's bracket. And again, for those of you who aren't too familiar with double elimination brackets, you play twice as many matches in the loser side than you do on the winner side. So you put in a lot more work. And John Choi basically won that one. And at one point in time with like the craziest wake up reversal custom combo against a meaty fireball that should have killed him. And he woke up, got reversal, custom combo activation, ran up, and then sweep Tatsu and the Shoryu kill basically. And it was like the craziest thing. So I'll actually have to see if I can find that footage anywhere, somewhere. But that's what Boston Brawl was famous for. But they would always jokingly call themselves B2. So just a little fun trivia fact for you guys there. Wrong thing.
And in 2002, the tournament was finally called the Evolution Championship Series.
Yeah.
At this point, Japanese players were regularly coming to compete, and in 2004, Daigo Umehara parries Justin Wong.
Yeah, so Kuni used to live in San Diego. He was one of the best Zangief players in Street Fighter 2. So that was who we saw in that video footage. So I don't know if you can count him as coming from Japan, but B5 was the first one that we got a lot of the Japanese players to come out. Well, not a lot. It was only a few, and it was a lot of the Third Strike players too. God, what was the guys? Somebody help me in the chat. The Necro player, the crazy Necro player that made Necro look like X-Men versus Street Fighter, was just destroying everybody at B5 with that character. But a lot of also white. God, the MVC2 player, the combo video maker. I think it was Sugiyama. I think it was Sugiyama who made it out there. But shoot, why can't I remember the freaking MVC2 combo video maker's name now? It's like Liquid Metal. Liquid Metal. That's who it was. Liquid Metal showed up to try to show, America how he was at MVC2, and MVC2 was just dominated by U.S. players, and so a couple of the MVC2 players came out and didn't really weren't able to do much. 2002, the Evo 2002 was the first year Tokido showed up, and Tokido ended up winning CVS2, and I got the infamous Tokido pose picture. Still like one of my most proudest photos that I've ever taken from the FGC events. And was one of only the first of Tokido's Tokido poses.
Giving birth to Moment 37, bringing new eyes into the scene.
And again, this is Tragic's edit of. Actually, this looks like a remaster of it because the quality of it looks a lot better. So I wonder. And I still know who says "Let's go, Justin." But I am not allowed to reveal it as per the person who said it, so.
In order to scale up, Evo moved to Las Vegas the very next year.
This was fun too because this was Evo 2003. Let me see here. So this is when I first started getting involved in this. So this was the first trailer that I made here, which is this one here. Why can't I hear anything? It's so quiet. Can you guys hear it at all? Let me actually turn it up a little bit here. So the inside joke on this was, by this point, the Evo trailers had become really well known for the song Evolution by Ayumi Hamasaki. This was back in the Napster days. And basically when Tom Cannon made the Evo 2002 DVD trailer, he just went to Napster and typed the word evolution in, that came up. He used it, and then basically he used a mix of it the next year. And so I just took that idea and I ran with it. And every year I just kept using different mixes of the song Evolution. This part, however, I actually played on my own. I actually played this on my brother's synthesizer, essentially. Ah, dissonant chords. Yeah, this is the first trailer I made for Evo at this point in time. And this is the one that takes place. Oh, yes, and I can't play this, honestly. I can't play this because I'm gonna get a copyright strike on this. But basically, at the very end of it, basically you see, and this is where the big announcement came from. And yes, we teamed up with MLG this year, and we went to Vegas. And I will save that MLG story for another time because that is a long story. And it was a disastrous relationship. Wasn't very good. And yeah, it was the reason why I never wanted to partner with MLG ever again. Because I was not a fan of how they worked with us, because they really didn't work with us at all. So, oops.
In order to scale up,
We're back to Nathan. Nathan is pushing his head against my hand on the computer mouse. Nathan, I can't use my mouse. Okay, here we go.
Evo moved to Las Vegas the very next year. It was a more neutral territory amidst the rivalry between the East and West coasts, but also doubled.
Yeah, so when we went to Cal Poly Pomona, basically when Evo was done, if you guys don't know, most of you don't know anything about Cal Poly Pomona, middle of nowhere, there was nothing to do. There was nothing to do at all. And so, while it was a nice little location in Cal Poly Pomona, let us use their ballroom and all that stuff like that, it was really not conducive for people to go hang out and play fighting games at. So that's one of the reasons why we moved to Vegas, because a lot of things are open 24 hours. The airplane tickets are considerably cheaper to get to Vegas, interestingly enough. As much as everybody says that Vegas is super expensive, it's not actually. It's cheaper than a lot of other places that you can go to. And so going to Evo was, you took bets on ants crossing the gaps in the cement. God, the fighting game community will bet on everything, I swear to God. But yeah, moving to Vegas was a really good decision, and really helped make Evo a lot more palatable for you to go there and also do a lot of other stuff, right? Because you could bring your family there now, and you'd be like, hey, so for this time I'm gonna be watching this stuff, but you guys can do all the cool things out there, like watch all the Cirque du Soleil shows.
As a tourist destination for anyone traveling. Going to Evo now meant going to Las Vegas, which is a city that literally calls itself the entertainment capital of the world. And this makes it much easier to convince your friends to go with you. Pina coladas on a sunbed next to a swimming pool is what got my better half to come with me. And if you like shows, I recommend Cirque du Soleil, which is basically like watching a 20v20 tag fighter.
I've seen Ka. That's been my favorite one by quite a bit. I've seen Zumanity, okay. It's just the big deal of that one is just there's just naked people. So if that's just something you really want to see, that you can do that. But I've also seen the Beatles Love. I don't know if that one's even there anymore. I don't even think Humanity's there anymore. But the Beatles Love was amazing if you're a Beatles fan. So,
But being a city full of attractions means it has crazy good event infrastructure, ones that
Yes.
can accommodate thousands of people with air conditioning.
one of the first big ballrooms that we played in was at the Rio. So one of the years when Evo was at the Rio, we were literally playing in the exact same stadium that WWE would wrestle in. So like literally one year, we were there like right after WWE. So it was like WWE, and then like it was either one weekend or 2 weekends later we were there, and it was just like, are we actually playing in the same arena as WWE? This is crazy! Like it was wild.
What comes with a venue that can accommodate over 25,000 people is a viewing experience to match that. The screens are huge, and the sound system reveals audio details you didn't know existed in your favorite fighting games. Few things are more satisfying than hearing a Tekken counter hit coming from an array of 18-inch subwoofers.
And I'll tell you this right now, I've said this to everybody. Every time I see them at Evo and they're like, this is my first Evo. And I'm like, did you get Sunday tickets? And they're like, I did, yeah. Obviously last year, that was a whole nother story. It was a whole disaster, but they're trying to fix that this year. So they're selling Sunday tickets again separately. But, you know, I've told them, I was like, I'm glad you got the Sunday tickets because I guarantee you, when you actually sit in the arena and a room full of like over 10,000 people cheer and gasp and go nuts for the same things that you normally go nuts about and have nobody around you that understands why you're getting so hyped, when you're in that arena and everyone goes, oh, on the exact same moment, it is something that you will never, ever forget. It is a life-changing experience to be in a room, finally, with so many people who love fighting games as much as you do. It's a really, really great experience. And again, yes, it definitely costs a lot more money, but if you can do it, I definitely recommend it, so.
But even if you have a sick sound system at home, you're not going to hear the audience around you. No amount of emotes in stream chat will match the hype of actual people's reactions and cheering.
Yes, this is absolutely true. When you're there, it's like I said, it's unlike anything you've ever experienced. It is like life altering. I mean, honestly, when the Daigo parry happened was the first time I was like, oh my God, like we could actually become something that people will buy tickets to watch. And when that room thundered when Daigo was parrying, I had never experienced anything like that. It was magical. And then when we got to Evo 2009 with Daigo versus Justin, it was, again, it was even more crazy. And in 2008, I was like, I'm gonna quit the FGC because we're not growing. Street Fighter 4 came out, 2009 was ridiculous. And I was like, I can't leave now. I can't leave now. I've gotta see this thing through. And as a result, I've basically ruined my life because I am here now. A broke ass streamer here. Yeah, so anyways,
But maybe you feel you just want to watch the matches. But even then, being there in person lets you see marquee matches that will never be streamed, many of which that determine who will make it into the finals at the end of day 2. Only the people in the arc of redemption will know what really happened. And for the biggest match...
Yeah, that is one of the biggest deals, is that a lot of times you're not going to see most of the matches. And they always tend to favor on the stream winners bracket matches. It's basically their way of rewarding you for continually winning. It makes it so that the selection process towards the latter half of tournaments, to the latter portions of tournaments, it's not biased, right? You're just picking the matches on the winner side. But a lot of your favorite players do go to loser side and they get eliminated off stream, and a lot of people don't like that. There have been many attempts at solutions for trying to record all the matches at all the stations with all the... Dude, it's never worked because people have actually managed to record the footage, but actually processing and releasing the footage never happens. It just never happens. Like every time someone records all that footage, what happens? Nothing. Because you're like, I can do this. And then you figure out it takes like a week for like one video. And you're like, what the heck? Why is it like this? And then you just give up, right? Oh man, it's so crazy.
Matches like the Sunday finals, you're basically in a stadium arena. It's like a giant concert, except that it's the best fighting game players in the world fighting for the most coveted title in the FGC.
Hi, was so great.
Every finals I've been to have had mind-blowing moments that make the crowd lose their minds.
Yep, in the Dogface show, long time ago, which doesn't exist on YouTube anymore, I have copies of it. I should just upload them at one point in time. I'll talk to Dogface and see if he's cool with me uploading them. The second Dogface episode was interviewing Joey and Seth. And Seth always had a very Field of Dreams-like kind of mentality with fighting game tournaments. You know, he was like, he loved the genuineness of the FGC. He never wanted to manufacture hype moments. He basically, I forgot exactly how the quote was, but basically he always said like, what Evo is a hype like preparation or like a hype oven or baking, you know, like station or something like that. And it's like, you just put it there and something crazy is going to happen. And AKA, if you build it, it will come, right? And so like, every year there was always just like some ridiculous moment. And there was always one standout moment almost every year. And almost every year, it involved Justin Wong getting his ass kicked, okay? Because the first one was Tokido doing the Urian unblockable to Justin. Then it was the Sue Mighty snapback of death against Justin. And then it was the Daigo parry. Like, Justin just, like, never could get a break until finally he had that crazy Cyclops comeback on Yipes. So he finally got, like, the positive end of footage. Oh, man. God, I don't know if I have that one anymore. Biopi, I guess? I'm not sure who you are. You're obviously very old school. I don't recognize the name, but I don't know if I have that episode anymore.
If you've ever been hype watching a moment on stream, being there in person will feel like it's over 9,000.
Yep.
When watching the FGC from afar, it's easy to forget that it's a real community with real people. When you get...
Where does he find this footage, dude? How does he where does he... I don't know where Korea Gaming gets... where does Gerald get all this magical footage? I have no idea, but it always just, like, works really, really well.
there, you'll see these people in person and not just their internet persona.
And this is something that's great, too, because, again... all the top players are just walking around, right? The FGC, as long as some of us old school guys are still here, we will do our best to fight against any temptation to turn any players into superstars that get favorable treatment. You know, there was a whole debate at one point in time in the Smash scene where they wanted to give, you know, make it so that all the top players didn't have to play pools. But like the FGC, because we're from the arcade, so Smash is from a console environment, so there's a little bit like maybe precedent behind that. They don't have the history of arcades. But for us, you know, playing fighting games, it's all about the arcade. You put up a quarter, you play, right? It didn't matter if it was Daigo sitting at a machine. If you put up a quarter, you play. And so that's something we always want to maintain. And one of the key factors of that is just making sure that the top players aren't sequestered from everyone else. So when you come to these events, yeah, you'll just be walking along and there's Punk the God, there's Tokido. And if you are at an Evo and at some point in time, you do not see Daigo walking around looking absolutely lost, it's not Evo. Like, I still remember, like, there was one Sunday where in the stadiums, you know, in the big, all the bleacher seats and all that stuff like that, like, Daigo was just sitting by himself, like, in one of the corners, and he was just sitting there watching by himself. It was just, like, everyone's like, what the heck? Like, why is Daigo, like, by? It was just, like, the funniest thing. Oh, man. But, you know, like I said, what do you mean, Big Bird? Oh, you didn't know about Big Bird until Street Fighter League Season 3. That makes sense. That makes sense. I've known about him a little bit longer than that. But yeah, like, as long as, you know, like, I'm around, as long as a bunch of other old guys like Gibby is around, we will definitely, Hokuto made the greatest comment about Hayao. I love Hayao. He's like Ed from Cowboy Bebop, just vibrating all over the place. Yeah, that works for sure. But yeah, like, as long as a bunch of us old guys are here, like Gibby and such, you know, we will try our best to make sure that open brackets are always the preference and that the top players never get preferential treatment here. And, you know, they have a lot of times. It's definitely taken longer to DQ some top players than it has, you know, Joe Schmo, just because we don't know who they are, you know, stuff like that. And we've gotten better about a lot of that stuff. So, you know, it's just the nature of fighting games and the arcade background that it comes from, the history, the rich history of the FGC, of the arcade being absolutely, like, open to all economic levels. You know, all economic classes were playing there. The pure beauty of the FGC not being, you know, financially discriminatory is what makes the FGC so diverse. And, you know, that nature is not something that we want to lose, you know? I mean, there was a famous player who once referred to half the players as Team Civilized and the other ones as Team Uncivilized. Yeah, that was, even back then, we were all making fun of that person for that statement. Anyway, but, you know, you know, if we ever get to that point where we just focus on just the top, I mean, we absolutely need exhibitions like Red Bull Kumites and stuff like that. But, you know, making sure that fighting games try to maintain this very, look, we're, no matter what, at the start of the tournament, we're all on equal footing. Okay, you might be like 10,000 times better than me, but you have to go through the exact same bracket as everybody else. And that's really important. And that is something to really, really strive for. So, the best thing about those pictures, Mike Lee, is that in the Yoga Hyper Guide, which was the Bible for Super Turbo that came out some point very much later on, that had all of the frame data and all of the hitboxes for all the moves in Super Turbo. And trust me, when everybody got it, everyone wanted to see the hitboxes. Nobody gave a crap about the frame data because, as I've said, frame data doesn't matter in old games. But yeah, like, everyone wanted to see the hitboxes. At the back of the book, there's an interview section, and you can see that picture of Daigo sleeping on a table outside. In fact, hang on. Ah, yes. Again, you are talking to basically the fighting game museum here, okay? You are basically talking to the fighting game museum here. Yoga Hyper Guide. Yoga Hyper Guide in nearly pristine condition. This thing is in, like, almost brand new condition. It's so crazy. Yeah, pictures of Daigo on the back over here. A lot of super turbo guides here. Again, we call it the Yoga Hyper. I don't know why it's called the Yoga Book Hyper. I have no idea. But that's what it's always been called. And if you actually look here, see all the information for the characters. See the frame data down there? But you got the hitboxes, including famous hitboxes like T-Hawk's bugged move, his bugged crouching strong. Did they actually show that on this one? They had a section where they were just talking about the bugged moves. Let me see if they actually show it in this one here. They don't show it here, but yeah, okay. So they talk about this one here. T-Hawk, when he did crouching strong, which is this move here where he goes safe. Actually, I can do manual focus over here. Let's do this. Where's the controller? Crap. Okay, hang on a second. Let me do this. It should be over here. This one here. So I can actually do manually focused here. Like over here, like this. And God, this is hard to do. Oh my God. Let's see here. Advanced controls, manual focus. So I can get it to be clear like this. So what happened with T-Hawk was that he would do crouching strong like this, and during recovery, a hurt box literally shows up right there. T-Hawk had a random hurt box that I'm pretty sure was supposed to be on top of his head outside like this. So you could actually just hit T-Hawk in the space in front of his head for no reason. And like I said, people didn't care about the frame data when they got these things. Because again, frame data doesn't matter in ST. Like you can study all the frame data you want in ST, and it's not going to help you. It's just not. And then at the end of this over here, they have like a bunch of famous Japanese players over here. As you can see, they've got a bunch of the Japanese players over here. There's Daigo Umehara, of course. A bunch of the players like this, where they just kind of give them stats and stuff like that. God, there's a lot of guys here. Dang. And then at the very end, they have like a section where they talk about like a bunch of stuff here. Here's a special interview with Daigo Umehara here. So again, a special interview with Daigo Umehara, and let's see here. There it is. At Cal Poly Pomona, in between some of his matches, Daigo, who was very jet lagged, went outside and found a table, like a bench. And this is a picture of Daigo Umehara sleeping on the table, on the bench, out in the grassy area where people would go and eat lunch and stuff. Like, that's literally what this is. He's just sleeping on the bench. Daigo was so good at falling asleep. Anywhere he went, like, it was crazy. Like, this man could sleep anywhere. It was hilarious. Oh, man. All right, back to autofocus here. A video of the sleeping? Someone actually has a video of it?
Hold on, let's get in his face.
Oh my God. This almost feels creepily invasive, to be honest with you. Oh man, but yeah, here we go. I guess there is literally...
All right, shut the fuck up.
Brian said, fuck that guy.
All right.
I don't even care about that.
Okay, that's all the footage there is there. Okay. Anyways, FGC was kind of unhinged back in the days. It's still unhinged now, to be fair. So Good times, good times.
The open bracket format means you might get a chance to play them in a match, and you won't forget it. The matches you play offline in a tournament like EVO get etched in your brain in a way online tournaments do not, so disrespect. The wins and losses matter much more because you're in a tournament that carries the legitimacy of one that will potentially change someone's life.
And to be honest with you, playing somebody in person just feels different. You will run into those, assholes who will beat you. They don't even know you, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, but you suck," blah blah blah. But trust me, most people around there will be very disapproving, and it's not one of those situations where it's gonna be like no one's gonna come to your to support you or anything like that. But that's very rare, and most of the time you'll shake hands with these guys, and if it is even someone who's better than you, I've seen this a million times. You lose, and you're like, "Hey, do you have any advice for me, man? I'm just learning this stuff. I want to get better." And a lot of times the other guy will just be like, "Yeah, I noticed you jump too much. Try not to jump as often," or whatever like that. Or some people will just be like, "Dude, I'm so bad at teaching, I don't know." But just having that in-person play changes a lot, honestly, and which is why one of the reasons why I personally hate playing ranked, because I don't like playing faceless people all over the place. So it's just not something that appeals to me. So ranked is not necessarily my favorite way to play.
The rush of getting out of pools or getting your first win is greater than getting 1,000 wins online.
Hang on one second, guys. I'm not going to be able to do my dailies in time here, so I just want to at least just do... Oops, it might be too late now. Okay, yeah, never mind. All right. I missed a day. Oh, well, whatever. Not that big a deal.
But even losing and getting eliminated feels more meaningful because the stakes are real, and you're sharing this experience with thousands of other like-minded people who knows how it feels.
There is no game mode that can give you the experience a major offline tournament can give you. Playing in the tournament feels this way because it has such a long legacy. Fighting games are the oldest esport that still has an active
There's Cooney again.
pro scene, and EVO is the oldest fighting game major that still esport that still has an active pro scene, and EVO is the oldest fighting game major that still exists today. So
Markman did correct that. Texas Showdown has actually been around longer than EVO has. However, Texas Showdown did change ownerships, had a couple of extremely terrible years under certain leadership, and then it disappeared for a few years, but it came back. Technically, it is the oldest. However, EVO is the, I guess you can't call it longest running, but it's had the most actual events. So...
Fighting games are the oldest esport that still has an active pro scene, and EVO is the oldest fighting game major that still exists today. Starting with around 100 entrants and blowing up to 10,000 in 2024, it is now the largest competitive gaming tournament in the world.
Yep. In terms of one location number of players entering a single video game tournament, nothing really comes close to EVO. You can put a cooldown on it, but I don't want to yet. If people do end up abusing it, then I will. But what I want to do is keep it open right now so 4 people can do it to make sure I notice.
There is a wall to celebrate decades of EVO champions from each year, and even inside jokes that reference the time they misspelled championship.
And the worst thing about this is the second spelling mistake that Tom Cannon made. There was another one in 2002 for one of the big posters. God, I forgot which game it was for or something like that, but there was a spelling error on there, and then championship here. And true story, when Olaf went to Magic Con recently, he busted out his championship lanyard and wore it to hold his badge, and someone there actually was like, "Is that the EVO championship lanyard?" Just so great. Yeah, no, that's probably where Eris got it from. Yeah, championship. So it was just a spelling error, and everybody had it on their lanyard. And again, people are like, why didn't the company that made these correct them? Because they don't know if it's an inside joke. They don't know if it's like, you know, they just have to print whatever you give them. They cannot claim responsibility for anything else.
On everyone's badge. If the term gaming history means anything, then this is it.
So like, what is this? Like, where does it get this footage from? Is this actually like an AI generated footage or something like this? I mean, because if you use AI to create something like this, you know, not necessarily, you can't be too mad about that.
If the term gaming history means anything, then this is it.
But there's lots to do outside of the competition itself. During all 3 days, there's a
Oh God, it's so beautiful.
convention going on, complete with cosplayers who pay extraordinary attention to detail. There's lots of stuff you can only buy at that Evo, and you'll have friends asking
By the way,
to detail. There's lots of stuff you can only buy at that.
this is Dynamic Beads Customs, I think it is. This guy's named David. Like, he was like one of the first guys to start selling bead sprites at FGC events. He has been at this is an OG guy. This is OG guy right here. He has been doing this for years. He has been doing this for so long. So always glad to see him at these events because, like I said, he is truly one of the old school guys out there. And I believe like this is his main form of income, I think now or something. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, it's cool when they can do that, right? And I always get super excited when FGC guys can do something like that, like the Popcorn Baron, even though that's not directly fighting game related. It's because of the fighting game community that the Popcorn Baron gained its notoriety and got word of mouth spread, and now that's basically all they do.
Evo, and you'll have friends asking you to get stuff for them. This is my shirt from Evo 2013, which is now 12 years old.
Gerald. Gerald. One Evo shirt. I can bust out all of my old B3 shirts, B4 shirts, B5. Dude, I have so many shirts and badges and everything from all these Evo events. I'm telling you, I am a walking FGC museum, okay? So trust me, in January, when my home was threatened by fires, I was freaking out, okay? I was legit freaking out because there's no way I could rescue all of the stuff that I had in here, man. Oh, God. But I can't even explain to you how much FGC history I have sitting in my house. It's insane.
And if you like artwork, the Artist Alley has some of the best fighting game artwork you'll find anywhere. Sometimes the artists themselves will be there to sign your stuff. But if you don't care so much for the lore as you do the gameplay, you can find the latest innovations in fighting game tech.
Yes.
There are a few places where you can try out so many controllers, and really, you have to try these things out first before.
So it was at an Evo that I first saw the Quamba 2009s. And I was like, this is amazing, I need one of these. And that's how I got into conversation with the Quamba guys, and they eventually ended up giving me this thing. And so I know I'm bad at promotion and I'm bad at saying these things enough and such, but at least from this camera view over here, thank you again for sending me a Quamba 2009. This setup has been a lifesaver for me, honestly. It's been so useful for me. And I love it. I love playing on this thing because it feels more like an arcade than just playing controllers on my lap, because I've never really liked playing on my lap.
Or you know what's right for you, even if that ends up being one of these.
Itazan's controller! Once
Out
again.
first before you know what's right for you, even if that ends up being one of these.
again, I know I always repeat this, but it was an old arcade game called 720, which is a skateboarding game. So I always call this his 720 stick because he's a Zangief player and it looks like a skate park. So like, it's just like, it's got like double meanings basically.
And if you want to try out some of the most anticipated fighting games, EVO is the most likely to have it. Fighting game publishers want their games to be showcased at EVO, and this benefits you and them if you attend. It's some of the most valuable feedback they can have.
Again, thank you very much, guys.
But if you're not so
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like, once the game companies started realizing just how nuts all the players in the audience would go for reveals on Sunday, like, they started saving a lot of their reveals for EVO. You know, before it was always, you know, E3, you know, Tokyo Game Show. But, like, I think it might have even just been the Geist reveal for Tekken 7 was one of the big ones that, like, the audience went nuts for that one. And it really, really cemented home for a lot of the fighting game companies that were like, okay, we need to reveal these things here. Even though most of the people in the audience are fighting game fans and they'll probably buy it already, but the reaction was priceless. Like, to be able to have that footage, to be able to show of people just like screaming their brains out when Tekken 7 trailer came and you see the geese, you know, like when you actually saw that, like, that is just invaluable for a lot of these developers.
into the new games they can have.
Again, thank you very much, guys.
But if you're not so into the new games, they have the old ones as well.
Yes, and Gerald is going to say this, but talking to one of the main guys who organized and brought all these games here, he said that this was the biggest convention arcade maybe in the history of convention arcades. And I was like, even bigger. I've never been to a MagFest, but I just assumed MagFest was huge for that. But apparently, EVO's is now just ginormous. I mean, dude, like, these photos showing it, like, do not do it justice.
Into the new games,
like, that's like maybe 1/8 or 1/10 of the arcade. Like, dude, like, it's huge. It is so many. The super guns for Third Strike were all the special, like, someone actually built like a special hardware thing for it. So like we had a special hardware made to play Third Strike at EVO.
they have the old ones as well, like very old. EVO is technically the second largest arcade in the US, with rare authentic arcade boards coming out of people's private collections.
What is the first largest arcade? What would be the first largest arcade? I know obviously something like Galloping Ghost Arcade exists, but I don't think it's that big, is it? Is it that big? I've never been. So it is. So Galloping Ghost is actually just like huge. Okay, gotcha. I've never had the pleasure of going there yet. So one of these days.
It's basically a museum at this point. But then there's also an actual museum, which is for arcade sticks. It's often laid out chronologically so you can see how they've evolved over time and where they're heading.
I'm sure I've thrown away my really crappy arcade sticks that I bought from KB Toys that instantly broke the first time I slammed my hand down on it in a fit of rage. Joysticks used to suck, man.
With so many things to do outside the competition, there's been a lot of talk about whether EVO is now a convention or a tournament. But the way I see it is, ¿por qué no los dos?
Yep.
Before EVO, I'd been playing at my locals and watching whatever tournament stream I could find, but going to EVO was the moment I felt like I was officially a part of this thing for the better or worse. If you're remotely interested in any of this stuff, it's hard to leave unchanged. Hopefully I was able to explain this 90% of the experience that people miss out on, but like any in-person experience, you just have to be there.
See you at EVO.
And again, you know, one of the coolest things about EVO is that, you know, even people a lot of people don't even understand how important Evo actually is. Back in the old days when, you know, Triforce Game Master was very anti-Evo, you know, was always butting heads with Evo and all this stuff like that. Anybody who played for Empire Arcadia, you know, he would always just like tell them that Evo was no big deal. Evo was no big deal. You know, I remember when Chris G first moved out here, he would parrot a lot of that. He would just be like, yeah, whatever, Evo's just another tournament. It really doesn't matter kind of thing, you know, because that's Triforce talking in their ear. And there was one player that Triforce talked to all the time. And I remember talking to him on the forums before the weekend of Evo. And he was just like, whatever, Evo's, I don't care. Like, it's not that important. I was like, dude, Evo was like the most important tournament that's out there. You know, like you win Evo, like that is something that is cemented in history forever, right? Like that's a big deal. And he was like, no, whatever, Evo's just, you know, Triforce talking in his ear. The funny thing is that player then went on that year to win a game at Evo. He got first place, won the tournament, and was on the stage. And while holding the trophy up, he started crying. He lost it. The tears just came down. And after the tournament was over, I don't remember if it was, if I messaged him on the SRK forums or somewhere else or whatever. I was like, and all I said to him was, do you understand now? And his response was, I understand now. Right? Like, that's what it was, right? Like that, like when it happened, it just like, it sunk in just how big it is. No, it wasn't Yipes. It wasn't Yipes, dude. It's not Yipes, so. Hey, thank you for the follow reformats. Appreciate it. Do I think all new fighting games will eventually be motionless inputs and everyone competes on all button controllers? You think lever makers will be still around in 10 years? I mean, I hope so. I think that anybody who tries to sell a distinct advantage of leverless controllers over pads, over levers, or pads over leverless and levers, or levers over leverless and pads, they're all wrong. All of them are wrong. You play what is most comfortable for you, and different people are going to find advantages with different controllers. And that's just how it works. No single solution is going to be optimal for everybody. And the ability to be able to select all the different ones is important. It's tough right now because the messaging that we're hearing a lot is that leverless is the right way to go. But to be honest with you, I don't think that's true. I really, like, for example, for me, like, I don't think I will ever be, like, even if I take the time to really get super comfortable with leverless, I don't think it would ever make me necessarily a better player than me just using the stick, right? Obviously, for a game like Tekken, oh my God, leverless is so much better, but that's because of the way Tekken is designed. Tekken is designed for a specific input device, which is the joystick and buttons. If it were designed like a lot of other fighting games, which is more, you know, just like whatever input device in mind, it would be very different. But because of the way Tekken is designed, they intentionally put in difficult things, difficult execution things, based on the fact that you were using a joystick and buttons, right? So, for example, Heihachi's forward, neutral, down, forward, plus button, right? If you even hit forward or down before you hit down, forward, that negates the whole input. It has to literally be forward, neutral, down, forward, and buttons. And on leverless, you can do it 100% of the time. But on joystick, it's hard because you have no idea if you're moving the little nub and hitting both cherry switches at the same time. right? You have to literally hit them on the same frame, you know, but that they built in execution difficulty based on one specific input device. And that's kind of where Tekken has had a lot of difficulties with that. Right, so C4 says hitboxes don't make you a better player. They more often make better players more consistent. Like, if I could block overheads by standing and not being scared that I will accidentally jump back, then I might actually block overheads. Because there's so many times I'm like, I stood up, and I still get hit. Oh, man. But yeah, I don't think it'll go that way, and I also hope to everything about fighting games that I love that we never remove motion inputs completely. Like, motion inputs have to stay, and if it were me, I think most games should stay that way. In fact, I think the current trend of single button inputs for special moves is actually going to taper off, because there are so many disadvantages to single button special moves. There's so many disadvantages to it that you lose from having motion inputs. We've lost a lot of move variety, and a lot of games now become twister. You know, a lot of people who play 2XKO are complaining about the fact that it's just like every button combination does something, and it's really crazy. But also, if you have a single button for special moves, right? Like, you've lost light fireball, medium fireball, heavy fireball. You've lost the ability to have like 3 different shoryukens that have 3 different purposes, etc., etc. Because if you want to make 3 different versions of it, you can't. Like, you could by adding more special move buttons, or making you hit light punch and special move, and then medium punch and special move, and heavy punch and special move at the same time, and it just gets more complicated, and it's just like, it becomes crazy, because then you can't use those combinations for activating supers or whatever like that. I honestly think the usage of single button special moves is going to taper off, because I actually think there's a lot of detrimental side effects of it. I don't think we should eliminate it entirely. And in fact, if we can figure out a way to do it like Street Fighter 6 does, so that there is just a modern mode and a regular mode, and you know, if you play the modern mode, you just know you lose the ability for different speed fireballs. Like Ken in Street Fighter 6, he can't throw light or heavy fireballs. But he could only throw medium fireballs. So his fireball game is really hampered by that. And so, you know, like, I definitely feel like that there is a massive disadvantage to doing single button special moves. I feel like it actually hurts the variety that we get out of a lot of fighting games. So I think that this current trend of we need to make these games easier, you know, for newcomers, I don't think it's gonna stick, to be honest with you. We did get a lot of people playing Street Fighter 6 in Japan thanks to modern controls and thanks to like things like Seijam Slam and stuff like that. Like I said, if it's a mode that exists and maybe eventually leads you further, or you know, you just keep playing it and you just know that you're limited, but another version with more options exists, that's cool. I'm totally fine with that. But I like it if the game has both, right? Because then I can choose. And like I said, I really think that having motion inputs is I mean, like, a lot of people don't even realize that Zangief walking SPD is his heavy SPD. So you're really only scared of walk OD SPD or walk 720. Because his heavy SPD has no range. But because everyone's like, oh my god, it's modern controls, they're scared of Zangief, even if he has like no resources. But he can't grab you. Because he doesn't have a light SPD on a single button press. He can still do it by manually doing the motion, you know, but like, then you're just doing the manual motion. So what's the difference, you know? So yeah, So, especially games with assists, C4, I think single button inputs are particularly bad because you need assist buttons, right? So if you have a game where you have 2 assists, I mean, 2XK already has 2 special move buttons. So I have to sit here and remember which button is the special move that I want to do and like all this other stuff. And like, if you have 2 assists and 2 special move buttons, you've got 4 other buttons that are used for something else already on top of light, medium, heavy, and probably unique. So you've just created a game with 8 buttons, right? Like, and then every button combination has to do something. I think for games with assist, it is specifically and particularly not comfortable. Again, I've managed to play Invincible Versus. I've managed to play 2XKO, etc., etc. Every time I play these, it's just like, wait, how do I do this again? Wait, what combination does this do? Wait, which one is the, Like, I can't remember. I literally can't remember. And the worst thing about it is, it's just like, even right now in Street Fighter 6, if I play Zangief or if I play Ken, because Ken has run by 2 kicks and Zangief has lariat by 2 punches, and I've used Zangief my whole life, but it is super confusing because it's 2 punches for lariat, 2 mediums for drive parry, 2 heavies for drive impact, 2 lights for throw, and then 3 punches for OD. And like, I have thrown to anti-air people and I have lariated in people's faces to try to throw them because I just get confused. I just get confused, man. Oh, man. Anyways, it's going to be different for every person. Some people are going to find it better one way than the other, but that is why making it a choice is always preferable. Giving the ability for the player to decide whether they want motion inputs or single special move inputs, I think that's the right way to do it. So if you're going to put, like, I almost feel like every fighting game should have both, right? I just kind of feel that way. Unless, obviously you're Smash Brothers or something like that because you're designed for single button special moves. You don't need all that stuff. But in general, I just think having both options is the best choice, honestly. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's how I kind of see it too. I've always thought of the modern stuff as grooves, right? So, I mean, obviously I'm lucky because I use Kimberly, but, jump elbow, like, kills modern players. Because they just see you jump, reaction, and I just drop with the elbow and they go, wee! Because they're so itchy trigger finger. I have definitely baited stuff out from modern players. Like, I'm sitting across the screen from them and I'm like, he just wants to super me, so I just do empty run. Like from a screen away, just empty run, stop, and then they automatically activate the super, and I'm like, yeah. So like, you have to understand, like, this is the problem, is what a lot of people complain about modern controls, it's because they don't want to change what they're doing to fight the modern player. But if you realize they're modern players, you can take advantage of them. You really can. And I do this a lot when I play online. So I don't think it's like a cheating thing. It's definitely just a different groove. It's just a different ism, kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it gets that complicated, it might be better with single button special moves. And because a lot of versus games already lean in that direction where, like, you have a character like Dante where quarter circle forward plus L, H, and M are 3 different moves already. And then if you double tap the button or hold the button, it's like another special move. Like, you're already kind of getting in that direction. But, for games like a Fatal Fury or Street Fighter, where it's nice to have different versions, different speeds of fireballs, different Jinrai speeds. I mean, it's very interesting because honestly, having that concept of here's the version that's slower, but it's safe, but you can interrupt it in front like a heavy Hashogeki. And then here's the really fast version that, frame traps people, but is punishable on block. except Light Hashogeki is not punishable on block. But, you know, a lot of times it's punishable, then, you know, it creates more dynamic, right? You just have a lot more options for your game, and you just have the ability to put more special moves in there with all these different motions, right? If you have one single special move button, you have a forward, neutral, down, and back, compared to I can do quarter circle forward with 6 different buttons, quarter circle back with 6 different buttons, DP, reverse DP, 360, you know, pretzels, whatever. Like, it's just, you have so much more ability to create a good variety in a way that makes sense as well, right? Like, you don't, like, it's not like, it's intuitive, right? There's the light, the medium, the heavy versions. Usually the punches do punches. Usually the kicks make you do kicks. You know, kind of things. There's ways you can associate it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Again, I'm an old head, so obviously I'm going to be biased for motions, but I really do feel like every time I play a game with single button special moves, I feel very limited. I feel like I don't have a lot of options, and it bothers me. Yeah, ratio 4, yes. Different way of playing. They did have modern in MVC3. It was normal or simple mode. Not much advantage to the simple mode, though. Right, that's currently Fatal Fury Smart Style. I heard that Smart Style just basically doesn't have any practicality at all. Like, it's just de facto significantly weaker because you're missing a lot of stuff, so... yeah, I mean, again, Video Soup says, it's funny how long games have had easy modes in them, and it's only now starting to become a serious discussion. Alpha 1 had easy mode, which turned out to be broken. That's how Mike Watson won all these Alpha 1 tournaments, was by using easy mode, because it was super broken, and they didn't realize that. But Alpha 1 was like, let's let you air block. Oh, you have alpha counters now. You have chain combo. Dude, that was like the most dumbed down fighting game like ever. Like, if you're talking about like going from, like, you know how people complain about like Exert to Strive? No, it's got nothing on Super Turbo to Alpha 1, okay? Alpha 1 was like the most dumbed down fighting game. It's just that back then we didn't really we didn't have that idea of dumbing things down. We were like, man, this is stupid. You could air block fireballs? That's dumb. You know, stuff like that. But we didn't realize what was actually happening. And again, MVC2 is meant to be one of the most simple, dumbed down fighting games ever. And it was just a very happy accident that it turned out to be just the most complicated and fun and just brutal fighting games ever. You know, but these developers have been trying to dumb down fighting games forever. When everybody complains, God, look at these modern games. These modern games are so dumbed down. No, dude, they've been trying to dumb down fighting games forever. 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 Okay? So I don't want to hear that crap, okay? Oh, man. Anyways, I've strayed long far off of Evo here, but again, you know, Evo, you know, to me is basically like one of the most important tournaments out there, and I feel like it is the window for a lot of casual fighting game fans to really get into fighting games, because, you know, the goal is to get a lot of those people who are like, yo, you know, it just looks so hype, I had to come and watch. And then they go, yo, got so hype watching it in person, I had to practice and enter next year. I had to do it. Like, that's the goal. That is what Evo is for, right? Evo, you know, as much as a lot of, you know, people who are already in the FGC might get mad at Evo because they're like, oh my God, you're doing all these things for casuals or whatever like that. That is what Evo should be doing. It should be geared for casual audiences. You're supposed to grab them. You're supposed to draw them in. And this is something that I've been aware of for a very, very long time, which is why I've always commentated Evo the way that I do. Because again, the number of people that I have tell me that they're just like, man, like, like I've only like fighting games because your commentary got me hooked, right? Like that's the thing, right? You're trying to get the casual people involved and get them interested. And how do you do that? You give them your genuine expression of just absolute joy and wonder at what the players are doing. You let them, you are their avatar. You have this genuine, like me and Seth were always about this. We're just like, oh my God, this player's so good. Oh, what the heck? Oh my God. Oh, Evo, we never thought it would get to this point. Like, look at it now. This is crazy. Like, you get people up in their feels. That's how you hook people, right? That's how you hook them. And, you know, that is something that, you know, we have to try to preserve. That is something that we definitely have to try and preserve. Because, as I've said, fighting games are a social genre. They're meant to be people meeting and people becoming acquainted and friends, etc., etc. Fighting games are supposed to be a social genre. It is not meant to be played at home by yourself on ranked all day. That's just not how we should be playing fighting games. Which is why I have my Discord, you know, because I've set it up so that people can actually just go into voice channels and stream their play. They can just stream their play, and anybody is welcome to jump in and just kind of watch and hang out with them. Of course, the Discord doesn't have enough people that this is not actually being utilized right now, but it's there. So again, if you want to, please join my Discord. And, you know, the more people there, the more we can start utilizing a lot of that stuff. So, let's see here. Considering everything surrounding the current FGC scene with Evo and all the content creators we have playing and competing, have you considered what the hell does that mean? Pickled? Pickled Mon FGC? I think there's a typo at the end of that because I don't understand what that last sentence meant. Yeah, exactly. So Zilcho has tried, but you know, obviously not a lot of people have joined. But again, there's only like 200 people in the Discord. So not only is the time zone stuff going to be a problem, but are you even going to have anybody there at the same time? You know, like, have you considered trying men? Like, well, what? No. Well, so I don't know what that has to do with anything in fighting game, but obviously I am a person who is very in touch with my emotions. I'm not scared to have a very prominent, like, feminine side, you know, in terms of emotions and caring for other people. But unfortunately, I am not attracted to guys. I'm only attracted to women. And that's just how it is. So a lot of times I'm mad because, like, if I was attracted to men, like, I feel like more men would probably be attracted to me. And I'd probably be able to find a boyfriend easier if I was gay, you know, than I am right now trying to find a girlfriend. But I'm like painted myself in this very niche market that nobody's really looking for. Basically. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just find a boyfriend. But it's just, like I said, it's not in my heart. It's the best way to put it. So, but yeah, any other questions here about this? I did want to talk a little bit about the players to watch at Evo for, you know, Street Fighter 6, because I wanted to name a few players, but I think I've gone way longer on this stream than I intended to. So I'll save that for either tomorrow or on Tuesday. And then we'll all be traveling to Evo, man. We'll all be traveling to Evo. So, and if you guys aren't, Dude, Tagman Inc., I am so tempted to start doing that because also one of my best friends from a long time ago teaches Unity at a college essentially, and I just met up with him not this weekend but the past weekend, and he was like, dude, anytime you want to learn how to make games, he was just like, talk to me. And I will start helping teach you how to make games. And at this point in time, it feels like something maybe I should try because clearly going the esports route is not working. But you know, we'll still see, because obviously in terms of content creation and streaming and stuff, I still really haven't gone full force into that. But I mean, commentary is just getting to a point right now where it's just saturated. It's just saturated right now. And so it's really hard to succeed in the scene because, you know, a lot of offline events died during the pandemic. And so there's really just not a lot of opportunities for offline commentary anymore. So it's a very, very tough scene to be in. And, this is a lot of like your ability to stay relevant enough that people want to hire you is just like the furthest thing from guaranteed at this point. And so it's really hard. It's very, very hard out there these days. So but as you can see, JNV throwing out some of these donation links and GoFundMe's and stuff like that. Thank you, Arinim, I guess. I guess I should, Arinim. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but trust me, the history doesn't mean anything, because if the people who are in charge aren't focused on that aspect, you're not useful, right? That's just the harsh reality. If that's not their intention, if their intention is to aim for modern, younger, like, look, you can't get any older, unhip, like, dork than me, right? Like there's nothing cool about me, right? Like I am who I am. I am unabashedly the biggest nerd in the world, right? Like I don't even try to hide it, you know? So if your goal is to try to, you know, be hip and get the young kids and all that stuff like that, it's not going to happen with me making references to, you know, movies from the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. So, you know, it's hard. It's hard. So, oh wait, really? Did I? Last time I checked the GoFundMe, I hadn't gotten there yet. Oh, let's see over here. Oh my God, I gotten there. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Oh man, I've reached my goal. Okay, I can stop that fundraiser now. I can actually stop the fundraiser now. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys so much. 16 minutes ago. Wow. Someone filled that out. Thank you guys. Because yeah, even though it turned out that Jasmine did not have any cancer or anything, you still have to pay for all the x-rays and tests and all that stuff like that. Oh, thank you guys so much. Okay. I wonder if there's a, like, how do you mark this officially closed? I'll figure that out later on, but I'll definitely mark this as ended, and I appreciate you guys helping me out with that. So, thank you guys. Thank you very much. So, if that was you who donated, I appreciate that very much in the chat. So, thank you guys again. means a lot, man. It really means a lot. So, and yeah, Jasmine is just, she's the sweetest girl. She's amazing. And she definitely keeps me sane a lot. So, thank you, Sayonara. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, honestly. So, that's just the thing. Who I am, I'm never not gonna be that way. It's just how I am. I wear my heart on a sleeve. I don't have the ability to control my emotions, for better and for worse, honestly, because, oh man, this past year has been a very, very mentally dark year for me. I'll say that much, and it's hard. It's been very difficult. I've been going through a lot of stuff, and you know, I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in that kind of thing, but I really want to. And so having so many crappy things happen, you're like, okay, well, this thing I really wanted the most out of everything. So maybe I've had all this crap happen so that this thing will happen and makes up for all of it, because, you know, you go through all that bad and this is your reward. And several times this year, that hasn't happened. So there have been like 3 or 4 things that I'm like, this will be the reward. And it hasn't happened at all this year. In fact, most of the time it's been the exact opposite. Like a lot of the things that I'm like, please, I hope I just get this. And you cannot 180 it more than what I've actually gotten from a lot of these situations, man. It sucks. It sucks. Oh, 2025 sucks, okay? I'm just gonna say that. 2025 sucks. And last year was supposed to be my bad luck year, but this year has been just significantly worse. Oh my God, this year has sucked. Oh my God, look at this, look at this, look at this. He's just leaning on the thing. He's just leaning on the thing. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. I think Jasmine's down here somewhere. Jasmine? Jasmine, I know you're here somewhere. Oh, I heard Nathan jump down. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Oh, where are you running to? Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that has sucked the most during the course of that, of these past 3 years, at least is done. At least it's over, and I don't have to think about it anymore. It definitely didn't go my way at all. Again, if you guys have been in my stream before, and I've talked about the sewage problem that I ran into in 2022. And I was hoping for at least, you know, some sort of thing to make up for it, for the stress and for just the emotional damage that I've been dealing with for the past 3 years. That did not go my way at all. It did not work out. So, sucks. It sucks. Any tips for any inspiring commentator for this day and age? Unfortunately, I've kind of grown very cynical, and I'm just like go do something else. Because it's so hard now. It's so hard trying to get to be a commentator at this point. But really what it comes down to is, I mean, the way that I do everything is always philosophical, right? I'm never gonna come at you with technical stuff. So, as I've always said, one, be true to yourself. When I first commentated, I tried to make catchphrases like yipes. They all sucked. So I just went to puns because I've been making puns my whole life. And that just became my thing. But you are the conduit to the viewers out there. Your goal is not to be right about everything. Your goal is not to be hype about everything. Your goal is not about being as super empathetic to everybody like I like to do, for example. Your goal out there is simply just to make the people watching have fun and understand why we love fighting games so much. And you do that by being your genuine self, right? So Yipes will do it basically as a rap battle, right? Like he commentates like it's a rap battle, right? Tasty Steve does it like he's a giant ball of energy. Some people will be dorks, some people will be, very empathetic, some people will be very analytical. But if that's how you want to commentate, don't do it because, hey, Sajam is good at analytics. I want to be like Sajam. No, find your niche. Find what you do. What are you doing, Jasmine? Find what you bring to the table the best. Be genuine, and that will come through. So your job is to just be genuine and make it so that people understand why fighting games are so fucking awesome. That's it. That's just really what your goal is. So, don't approach it as like, I gotta be like this guy, or I gotta do this, or there's a right way to do it. Again, there's a lot of people who message me all the time. I hate your commentator. Whenever you're on, James, I mute you. You're the worst. I hate when you tell rambling stories instead of commentate the matches. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? That's cool. Because the beautiful thing about the FGC is we all are allowed to commentate however we want. So if you don't like me, you'll like somebody else. Guaranteed. There's somebody out there that suits what you want out of commentary. And if there's a lot of people out there who don't like a lot of the other people, and I suit what a lot of people like about commentary. A lot of people like having those weird connections or hearing weird stories about the old times, or, just being like, so like, oh my God, I feel so bad for them, kind of stuff. And again, that is the beauty of the fighting game community, is that unlike, it's different now because I think the fighting game community has actually affected a lot of other scenes. But you remember early on, like early esports, like all commentators for like League and stuff like that, they all had to sound exactly the same. They all sound the same. And in fact, even Smash Brothers got to that point where outside of Big E and God, who was the other person? Who did Big E, not Big E, EE. EE and who did EE always commentate with again? Shoot, why is the name just dropping out of my head right here? But like outside of them, like and Toph and see, now I can't even remember that other. Dude, I'm so bad with names. Jesus Christ. Scar, Toph and Scar, like they could commentate their way, but then everybody else like got pigeonholed and had to sound a certain way for a long time. I've heard this complaint from a lot of Smash commentators that at one point in time, TK, of course, TK, God, it's one of my favorite guys to commentate with. I love TK. God, see, I'm terrible with names, dude. I hate it. Because again, I don't remember your name because I remember your name. I remember your name because when I think about you, you give me a feeling that's unique and it triggers your name in my brain. And if I can't, for some reason, find that connection, I can't get the name out. Thank you. I appreciate that, Aaron M. And you too, Violent Clock. I appreciate it. The other thing you can do, Gohan, honestly, I did this a lot. I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to do this all the time when I would watch streams, even for games that I didn't know. A lot of times I would mute it and just commentate in my head, or even out loud while sitting at home, Like, I'd be watching a stream and I just mute it and I'm just like, oh, he did this and blah, blah, blah. This happened and blah, blah, blah. Nathan, get down. Nathan, there you go. As soon as I move forward, he's like, okay. Practice that way. Practice that way. And don't only focus on the hype moments, because I'll tell you right now, the thing that makes the difference between a great commentator and a good commentator is when nothing is happening. Is when you're commentating a match between two, like, I'm not trying to be insulting, but I'm just saying it at it. When you're commentating a match between two bad players, or when all of a sudden the controller dies or the machine dies, and now all of a sudden you have to sit there and talk for 10 minutes, or they're like, hey, can you keep stalling? Daigo went to the bathroom. Like, that is gonna make the difference between whether you are a good commentator or a great commentator. Because when matches are good and hype, everybody can commentate. But when they're not as exciting, that's the challenge right there. Anyways, I'll do the second half of this either tomorrow or Tuesday, because I do need to wake up early tomorrow, so I need to call it a night and get some sleep and all that stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in, especially for a late stream over here. I mean, maybe this is a good time slot for me, because I think people might actually really like it, having something to watch this late at night. I can be thank you, Myth FSV. Thank you, appreciate that. But maybe I can be like the late night talk show guy, like I could be the Conan O'Brien or the John Oliver or something like that. So anyways, dude, yeah, when they blame the commentator, why do these commentators like listening to them talk? Dude, none of the commentators want to do that. None of them want to talk for that long. I can tell you for sure that every time we have to do that, every commentator's like, God damn it, like, what's happening? It's crazy. So, oh man. Dude, I've been obsessed with listening to Conan Needs a Friend, or at least watching it on YouTube. That shit is hilarious, dude. I freaking love Conan O'Brien, dude. He's just seriously the greatest. Oh, I mean, I'm Colbert, obviously, but that's a whole nother story. So, oh man, sucks. Yeah, online matches crash during tournaments and stuff. Yeah, it's all stuff that you got to talk about, right? I still remember watching old final round footage, because final round used to not hire commentators. It was just people would be, hey, can I commentate? Hey, can I commentate? And they're like, sure, jump on. And two people would be sitting there, and then there's a big lull between matches, and they're just like, blah, blah. And they stop talking, and then they just start looking at their phone. And so you're literally looking at a screen of two people looking at their phone, and you're just like, bro, come on, dude. Pace. There we go. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Black lives matter. Trans lives matter. Women's lives and choices matter. Palestinian lives matter. Be excellent to each other. Right, Nathan? Bonk. And party on, dudes. Take care and peace out.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes!